Previously on Imperium, Primaris Captain Pharaoh Ulthar managed to cut a path through the Skorpekh Destroyers of the Bone Collectors unit in order to rally with his troops. Now, having torn their way into the Necron facility with their Flamestorm gauntlets, the Primaris Aggressors Sergeant Romanus, along with Brother Crassus and Brother Marcos, pressed towards the last known position of the Necron Royal Warden Harken Raktet. So starting with Space Marine turn 1, we're going to advance move the Primaris Aggressors towards the Skorpekh Destroyers and the Necron Royal Warden in order to attempt to get them into range. So in this issue we're being introduced to range, and the range on the Flamestorm gauntlets is 12 inches. Starting with Brother Crassus, let's roll a dice, getting a 1. So we'll add 1 to his normal movement, making it 6 inches. And then for Sergeant Romanus, getting a 5, so we'll be moving him 10 inches. Lastly, Brother Marcos, getting a 3, so we'll be moving him 8 inches. So the Primaris Aggressors ending their movement phase there, and the closest one is Sergeant Romanus, who is 14 inches away from his closest target, so outside of shooting range. So that'll be the end of Space Marines turn 1, on to Necrons turn 1. The Skorpekh Destroyers only have melee weapons, so we'll begin by moving all of them 8 inches towards the enemy. Doing their normal move means that we can still charge in this turn, and Harken Raktet's Gauss Blaster has a range of 30 inches, but it also has rapid fire, which means that if it's within half of that range, then we can use that, so it needs to be within 15 inches. And it's currently 16 inches away, so we'll just move him a couple of inches forward. And then we will use his rapid fire on Sergeant Romanus, so we'll be rolling 4 dice instead of the usual 2. Looking for a 3+. So 3 successful. And the Gauss Blaster has an AP of -2, which means we'll be looking for 5+ to save. So 1 successful save. So Sergeant Romanus is taking 2 wounds. Now for the charges. And all of the Skorpekh Destroyers are within 12 inches. So let's do this front to back. And this one's 9 inches away. Getting a 12, so we'll bring him within engagement range. And for the next one, getting a 3, which won't bring it within engagement range, so that's a failed charge. And for the final charge towards Brother Crassus, getting a 10, so a successful charge. Now onto the fight phase. So let's start with the Skorpekh Destroyer facing off against Brother Marcos. And the Skorpekh Destroyer with his hyperphase weapons has 3 attacks, looking for a 3+. So 2 successful. And with an AP of -3, we're going to be looking for 6s. So both failed. So now Brother Marcos has taken 2 wounds. This isn't looking great for the Space Marines. On to the final fight between the Skorpekh Destroyer and Brother Crassus, taking place behind this beautifully painted container. That was painted by one of my Patreon supporters, James of madmagospaints. I'll link his Fiverr account in the description below. So again, 3 attacks hitting on a 3+. 2 successful. Looking for 6s to save. Both unsuccessful. So Brother Crassus will also be taking 2 wounds. Meaning that all 3 of the Primaris Aggressors are now down to 1 wound remaining. And that is the end of Necrons turn 1, onto Space Marines turn 2. As Brother Crassus and Brother Marcos are already within engagement range of the Skorpekh Destroyers, I won't bother moving them. But I will move Sergeant Romanus up 5 inches. He's outside of engagement range, so now I can shoot. That just means that I can also charge in during this turn. So these weapons have a random number of attacks. So let's roll 2 dice. Getting an 8, which means they have 8 attacks and they hit automatically. So let's roll 8 save rolls. Looking for a 3+ to save. So only failing 2. So he has taken 2 wounds, but has 2 wounds remaining. Now, as I said before, I will charge him in as well, and there's no way I can fail the charge roll, so I'll just move him within engagement range. Now we can use the melee attacks from the Flamestorm Gauntlets, and they have 3 attacks, looking for a 3+ to hit. So 2 successful, and they have an AP of -3, meaning the Skorpekh Destroyer will be needing a 6 to save. So failed both. I did say earlier that he had 4 wounds, but he's only got 3, so either way he's out. So the Space Marines levelling the playing field slightly. It's now a 3-on-3 assault. So let's continue with Brother Marcos and this Skorpekh Destroyer here. Again, 3 attacks, looking for a 3+. Only 1 successful. Looking for a 6 to save. Only getting a 3, so that one will be taking a wound. And finally, let's see what Brother Crassus can do. So 2 successful. No, 1 successful even. And it makes a save, so no wounds for the Skorpekh Destroyer this turn. Earlier I did the draw to see which one of my Patreon supporters will become the sponsor of the Primaris Aggressors as seen in this episode. And congratulations LSX Optimus, they will be yours. So next issue, which will be the last day of this month, as this video was meant to come out yesterday, I will be giving away a Genestealer Broodlord, as the issue came with 3 paints and no models, so I'll keep the paints and give away the Genestealer Broodlord. So if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning that, then check out my Patreon. I will put a link in the description below. Back to the game. So that is the end of Space Marines turn 2, onto Necrons turn 2. And currently I don't need to make any moves, so I just jump straight into the shooting phase. And again, as Sergeant Romanus is within 15 inches of Harken Raktet, he'll be doing rapid fire. So 4 attacks, looking for a 3+. 3 successful. And again, with an AP of -2, we're looking for 5s to save. So 1 save, 2 wounds going through. And as the Primaris Aggressors only have 3 wounds, Sergeant Romanus out of the game. So back to the fights, starting with the Skorpekh Destroyer facing off against Brother Marcos, with his 3 attacks looking for a 3+. 2 successful. Also, I just remembered, we're being introduced to living metal and how that works. So at the start of the Necron's turn, each of the models regains 1 wound. So that means that this Skorpekh Destroyer is back up to 3 wounds remaining. Anyway, now for the save rolls. And with an AP of -3, we're looking for 6s. Getting 2 6s, so Brother Marcos is staying in the battle. Will Brother Crassus have the same luck? So 1 successful, looking for a save of a 6. And getting it. Space Marines having all the luck this turn. So that is the end of Necron's turn 2, onto Space Marines turn 3. So we'll come back to Brother Marcos with his 3 Flamestorm Gauntlets melee attacks. Looking for 3s to wound. So all 3 successful. And with an AP of -3 again, looking for 6s to save. So 1 save, 2 successful. This Skorpekh Destroyer is back down to 1 wound remaining. Can Brother Crassus finish off this Skorpekh Destroyer so he can actually do some shooting? 3 attacks, looking for 3+. 2 successful, looking for 6s to save. Both failed, so we'll be taking 2 wounds. So Space Marine's not able to regain the advantage. That is the end of Space Marine turn 3, onto Necron turn 3. And this turn I'll remember the living metal, so that they'll be regaining a wound. And then I'll be moving Harken Raktet 6 inches, so that he is well within 15 inches and can therefore use rapid fire. And he'll be using his rapid fire on Brother Crassus. So 4 attacks, looking for a 3+. 3 successful. And the Gauss Blaster has an AP of -2, so we're looking for 5s. 2 successful, but failing 1, which means he is now on 3 wounds and is therefore out of the game. Down to 1 lonely Primaris Aggressor. Can Brother Marcos survive this round? So the Skorpekh Destroyer has 3 attacks with his hyperphase weapons, looking for 3+ to hit. 2 successful, and with an AP of -3 would be looking for 2 6s. So I think this could spell the end for the Space Marines. Both failed. Brother Marcos is down. Arkham Raktet and his Skorpekh Destroyers are victorious. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.